Good morning. Good morning. Turn this off for a second. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Get ourselves situated because that's what we do. I am Jackie Glass, Mama, Navy vet, certified doer. The House is yelling. It's 93rd District. Truly honored to serve. Truly honored to serve. Um, I've got a pretty jam-packed live for you this morning. So hopefully if you've got questions or comments and things, you can go ahead and put them in the chat. I'll do my best to get to them, but I want to outline a couple things that are happening over the coming weeks. Number one, tomorrow at Norfolk State, there is going to be a live taping of, I think his goodness, give me, Roland Martin is coming into town. They're going to be talking about some of the state level leaders. I'll be talking about the Vote Yes campaign. So that's happening tomorrow night at NSU. If you want to be on that live taping, go ahead, come on, bring your friends, bring your people. That's tomorrow, Friday. Let me see. If you go to Mobilize, NSU, Roland Martin, it's on the Mobilize app, and I want to put that in the chat for you. Yes, there it is. Join us for the live taping. Blase, blase, blah. On Mobilize. If you are interested in supporting folks that are trying to that are trying to make sure information gets out about Vote Yes, then you can work with those folks. They'll be at Little Creek. I will put all of this up on my I'm going to put all of this up on my here, let me get this. So Friday, April 10th, 5 to 8 p.m. at Norfolk State in the Dorothy Brothers Auditorium. There is going to be, that's where the event is going to be. If you go to the NSU page, they should have all of that for the daily digital show. COVA Coalition, I'm saying that again, is having a place where they're going to be dropping off literature to help people understand what's happening with the Vote Yes campaign. And then lastly, on the 21st, out in Berkeley, I'll be on a panel as well, April 21st, just sort of explaining what's happening here so that you all can understand a little bit better what this Vote Yes stuff is all about and why we're doing it. Then I want to say on the 18th, this is super important to me. Y'all see me get a little excited because it's something I'm doing. At the Norfolk International Airport, every year I host this thing called Fly Norfolk. It's where we have people bring in their aircraft, Spaceports brings in VR. It's just like a day of family fun at the airport. And I would really love it if you guys would show up and come out and support you. If you go to Eventbrite, and I'll put the link in my bio, but if you go to Eventbrite as well, on Eventbrite, it'll show you Fly Norfolk. It's a huge event. I host it every year. You want to come fly a drone about aviation careers. Sometimes we get the opportunity to let people go out on the flight line just to explore Norfolk International Airport. It's a BFD, a big freaking deal. And I love to have people come. And I hope that you take the time to come out too. Okay. So share with your friends. It's on Eventbrite, Fly Norfolk. And then all this stuff for the Vote Yes campaign. All right. So let's get into the doing for this morning. And I'll definitely make sure that I put all that stuff in the right place, in the place to be. So good morning. This morning, I really wanted to take time to sort of talk about, but to really talk about what's happening. I've been getting a lot of folks come to me about what's happening with this war. I've been watching TikTok videos, and these videos are telling me that, folks are watching videos that are telling where other countries, and you can tell me in the chat if you've seen these videos. I'm not on TikTok, unfortunately, but where other countries are telling their folks that they need to start conserving gas and oil and things like that because of what's happening with the war, right? Like what is actually going on in with Iran and these United States. So I'm going to change my banner up here and sort of give you all, hopefully, the best explanation and the best like download that I can give as a person. Um, that's not to say it is the it is the thing, but it is my thing from a lens of when I was in the United States Navy. I did deploy to the Persian Gulf twice, and Persian Gulf is, and if you geography, just for geography, because I'm not going to claim that I was an all knowing geography person, because I was not. I had to learn a lot of geography once I got into my job as a cryptologist. But the Straits of Hormuz is this really tight space where our ship would go. And I imagine telling you guys like Google Persian Gulf so you can see where it is, what it looks like. I probably should have brought a picture up here because I know that's a whole thing of us just trying to get our lives right. But I wanted to talk about the relationship, doers, between war, oil, money, and then what happens when people kind of play games with the waterway that helps move about 20% of the world's oil. And that's why the Straits of Hormuz is so important. It is the mover of about, and I'll say this again, about 20% of the world's oil. And I'm saying this to you always from a place of trust but verify. Listen to what I'm saying, but if something doesn't sound right, verify. Do not take anybody's word for anything. We are in an age of mis and disinformation. And so I always want to give you all an opportunity to take these stats. If I tell you something, go look it up if it don't sound right, so that you can also cite your source. So that waterway moves about 20% of the world's oil. And that's not, it really, again, it's not a random normal a number, but it's also not a far away geography quiz for us. And I've always said this to us, or not always, but I will continue to harp on politics, why Americans need to get a better understanding of what geopolitics is. This is a place where it's a global pressure point. And so when that pressure point gets squeezed, people around the world feel it. Let me explain. Let me kind of explain. And again, we're talking about the Straits of Hormuz. We're talking about war, oil, and the cost here. So war, not only if you're in this time and you're feeling like you're grieving, that's important because war is grief, even if you're not in it. War is trauma. War is loss. War is also about business, right? It's about business. It's heavy business. There are people who profit when war gets shaky, like wholeheartedly. Traders profit off the volatility. Defense contractors profit off escalation. Shipping prices rise. Insurance prices rise. Speculation, because you hear a lot of people speculating, and regular people like you and I trying to, go to work, trying to buy groceries, trying to keep the lights on. We take just or taking care of our family. We're the ones often sort of handed the bill for all of what's happening, which is facts on facts on facts, right? That also is an ugly part of war. If we don't understand that, we will keep being surprised every time some conflict shows up, and then it hits our pockets. The Wall Street journals made a point, right? And their point is that the ceasefire, because I don't know if I'm trying to pay attention to the news without causing myself anxiety, but the Wall Street Journal said that a ceasefire, it may quiet the guns, but it does not undo the energy hangover, because again, there's an energy piece component, especially when we involve the Straits of Hormuz. That is, I think it's some of the biggest damage that we've seen. So when we talk about damage to refineries, to oil fields, to gas export terminals, that is leaving a lasting economic scar. After the headlines are going to go away, all of that's going to be a scar for all of us. Good morning, Mr. Little. So let me start with the Straits, right? So the Straits of Hormuz is one of the most important choke points in the world. Again, in 2024, I think the number was about 20 million barrels of oil a day moved through the Straits of Hormuz, along about 1/5 of the global shipments. That is nearly 500 billion in annual energy trade that move through one place, right? Big money in one place, right? Trading through this very narrow corridor, right? This very narrow place. So when people talk about the tensions there, they are not talking about like this side issue. They are talking about one of the biggest arteries of our global account economy. And that's where we got to start putting ourselves into the larger picture. And that matters to Virginia and to what happens to us when we go to the pump. What happens? You can put it in the chat. Some of y'all have seen it, and I can tell you, a lot of this was happening while I was in session, and I was like, wow, 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 wow. I did not even realize that gas prices were this high, right? So when the supply of oil gets threatened, fuel prices rise. When fuel prices rise, transportation costs rise. Now, I already got a letter, like a email. It's actually, I'm going to look here and pull it up, because I got a little message from, I think it was HR, from USPS, right? And the USPS said starting May, this is the United States Postal Service, said starting May 7th, the United States Parcel Ground Advantage and Priority Prepaid label rates will update to increase the USPS's new fuel surcharge. Media mail and first class envelopes are not impacted. So everybody that's driving your stuff in places, their cost is going up. And when transportation costs rise, goods costs rise, right? The trucks that have to bring, we just saw this ruling with Norfolk Southern and CSX, and how we're getting over 150 more trucks along Hampton Boulevard in Norfolk because folks are playing with the railroad system. And so like when goods cost more than inflation, which we all heard about during COVID, it gets really mean. And when inflation gets really meaner, people who are already stretching from paycheck, stretching a paycheck, the furthest gets hit hard, get hit the first. And that matters because we often see war as just about diplomats and maps, but it is not. It's not simply diplomats and maps. It is about your commute, the grocery store, deliveries, flights. It also creeps into school pickups, caregiving, keep family, where almost everything depends on affordable energy, right? I want to pull us back to that. Almost everything depends on, and I'm going to be disciplined and truthful here, because that leadership requires that, especially in this time. So gas prices in the United States have jumped extremely sharply. You all have seen that. There's been data that showed that the national average for regular gas, it went from $3, and I know they do decimal points, so I think it was like 3.015 or something like per gallon on March 2nd to 4.120 on April 6th. That's almost a month apart, and that's a real spike, y'all. And it is painful. I can tell you that if you're driving, especially in a place like Hampton Roads, where we're very car dependent, it is painful. And I'm not going to tell a fib and say it is an all-time record if it's not. The truth about this is right now is that it is strong. That's a strong spike by itself, and that issue is just not whether it's the highest ever. The issue is how fast it rose, how many people it squeezes, and how little rooms families have to absorb that jump. I can tell you, I just got that letter in the mail that said, "Hey, your gas bill is going to go up by $100. The affordable pay, right? That budget billing is going up $100 a month, right? That all these things pinching us, electricity bills, gas bills, water bills, all this creeping, and you couple that with the thing that gets us to the place, no matter how you get there, the thing that gets us to the place that helps us have money to sustain and be able to support our families." Okay. Big deal, right? This is not a small thing, y'all. And again, if you have questions, if you have comments, please put them in the chat. I am 100% here for it. I just want to make sure that we're giving a clear explanation of what's happening here, why it matters. So now let's talk about the ceasefire. Now the ceasefire actually matters because that just happened recently, because there are fewer bombs. Excuse me. So fewer bombs is better than more bombs, right? Like we don't want those things. And plus we're in a position where, because the Straits of Hormuz are cut off, what does that do for our ability uh, to be able to re-engage when there's a fight? So we do want less missiles. We do want less families burying their loved ones. Less is more, it's better. But that ceasefire that you all see in the headlines, it is not a magic trick. That ceasefire doesn't instantly repair that bombed infrastructure. Remember when I talked about oil refineries and things and how this is going to have a lasting impact? It doesn't remake that infrastructure. It doesn't reopen the trade at full speed overnight, because that is not happening. And it also doesn't calm the insurance markets that we rely on at the snap of a finger, right? And it's certainly, for me, the ceasefire does not ease uh, the fear of that premium that gets backed into the energy prices after this region has been hit. Because remember, it's so important, 20%. And that's why I think, again, the article that I was reading was the Wall Street Journal. It framed this as an energy hangover, which I do need you to take a look at the map and look at it very clearly. If the Straits of Hormuz um, reopen fully, did I lose myself? Okay. So if the Straits of Hormuz reopen fully, like they fully reopen, the damage to the regional energy hubs that are there can't keep like squeezing global oil and global to global markets. That's just not going to happen. And there's another source, because remember I told y'all we need to be able to cite our source. The Guardian made that same larger point, that the shock is the shock that we've done is not, it's not only immediate, it's going to linger, and we're going to have higher prices and slower growth. That will happen for all of us. And I know y'all here, hold on, let me switch over, because I think what's happening is my hotspot is being weird, or my internet last time we had this, and I don't want that to get in the way of us sharing information at all, ever. But and I what and y'all know I care about telling the truth when the internet is like in a frenzy, because I'm telling you, I've been hearing this left and right, and I am concerned too. So again, going back to what I've heard in the streets, what I've gotten in the streets is that a lot of folks have told me that, again, they're watching these TikTok videos from other countries that are telling people to conserve everything right now. I'm not going to mock people for paying attention, because that is not a thing. I think that is a real, when you see that, that puts you in a place, especially when you're not seeing your country do that. So I'd rather people be alert than asleep. But I'm also not gonna like turn into that social media chaos here. So here's a truth, my truth, to hopefully be helpful to you. I don't want you to panic. I don't want you to dismiss anything, but I do want you to prepare. The difference between fear, there's a huge difference between fear and readiness. Panic means you go out and you start buying everything, you start believing everything and repeating everything. Preparedness says we're going to check our source, we're going to know our local risk, we're going to keep our car, keep your car from living on empty, and we're going to keep water on hand. We're going to charge our devices. We're going to know what our household would do if there's a short disruption. Do you understand? Preparation is key. And that I'm not trying to fear monger anyone. I'm trying to ask us to be grown about this, because I want to speak from my lens of where I sit as a former naval cryptologist. The biggest jump scare for me right now with all of this, as we talk about gas prices, we talk about oil, the biggest jump scare for me, and I'm not shitting you, like just keeping it real, is drones, is water, and it is like electricity. Because is modern conflict isn't just it doesn't just announce itself on a battlefield or in the streets. You can't point to it on the television. Sometimes this 21st century war shows up with disruption, and sometimes that's disruption in infrastructure, right? Things that we built. It shows up in system stress, in cyber pressure, in confusion, and people are not understanding what they're looking at until something is already gone completely wrong. That's why I am trying to pay attention to what's happening with, you know, unauthorized drones flying over here in these United States over our military bases. That's why I'm watching water systems to see, hey, like we've seen, hacks. And I'm watching electricity, not because I want to scare you or scare anybody else. That is not because I know enough to know what's going to matter in these United States in the 21st and 2026, where we are right now, as it pertains to war. So I want to say this extremely carefully to you all. I am not telling you that harm is guaranteed tomorrow. I am telling you that war teaches us to watch the systems that make daily life possible. So, what are the things that allow you to live daily in this world? There was an explainer that I read that breaks down Hormuz, um, about how narrow that waterway is and how much traffic flows through it and how asymmetric tactics like, unorthodox, right? Tactics like mines, fast attack crafts, those are the small boats. The lesson in modern conflict, disruption is the weapon. The goal is to disrupt our lives. Now, there is an organization called the International Energy Agency, and it had a very blunt warning for us. So, according to some reporting, and I think Guardian did the reporting, the IEA, which is the International Energy Agency's chief, said that oil and gas crisis triggered by this war is more serious than the crisis that we saw in 1973, 1979, and in 2022 together. And I'm going to tell you, it is not a small statement. I'm underscoring disruption is the point. Disruption is the point. It is not a small point. All three of the years, it should be a reminder what we're not talking about right now is just normal market noise. Like, oh, the market's the market. It's not that. What we are truly at the core talking about is an event serious enough to rattle not only inflation, growth, but public confidence across the globe, entirely across the globe. And for Americans, this means that foreign policy and kitchen table in your house economics, they are not separate conversation. Again, this okay, there we go. Again, this is why I say that we have got to put ourselves in a understand geopolitics. Let me make sure that my internet is doing what it needs to do. Can you guys hear me? Being that you can, all right? That is why that. Sorry, I missed all of that. Good morning. I don't think it's a coincidence. I don't think it's a coincidence. I'm just saying, I thank you for hanging in there if you're one of the people that hung in there, because I don't think it's a coincidence at all. At all. I do not think it's a coincidence that I keep getting cut off. And because we had no problems with the internet. Anyway, I'm gonna get back into the what I was and get back into what I was saying. Keeps doing this. I don't. And I'm on my hotspot for my phone, but I don't think it's a coincidence at all. So what I'm trying to say is that um, we're at a point where foreign policy and kitchen conversation. Tell me if you can still hear me. They're the same daggum conversation, and so for us, war abroad can raise your cost here. I think you all know that choke points overseas can strain a paycheck and off a missile strike in near energy infrastructure can push up what a parent pays to go to work, right? Because we pay to go to work, whether it's the water we wash up with, the gas that we use, the bus driver use, or whatever, especially in Virginia, y'all, because Virginia is a military state. Virginia is a port state. Virginia is a logistics state. Virginia is a commuter state. And Hampton Roads, especially, global instability is never fully abstract here. It can show up in deployments, and I'm telling you, we are seeing this. Folks families are leaving. Also, we've got people who brought nothing, service members, and that's a group of people that we kind of need to help right now. Groups of service members who got shipped back to the United States with nothing, who were in Bahrain and had to immediately come back with nothing. And I'm saying are living in hotels here in Hampton Roads with little to nothing. Trying to figure out, right? No clothes, no car, and then having almost like being trapped here, right? Not being able to go very far. And so the anxiety for families, the cost simply for living an ordinary life. What do certified doers do about all this, right? I'm dead serious. What do we do as doers? Because I've just put out a lot of information. It's like, what do I do this? Well, let me say, first we educate. We stop sharing everything streamed on the video like it's gospel. Don't do that. Check your sources. We compare what we are hearing against credible reporting and actual data. Like that's what we got to get smarter about what information we are and are not putting out there, because that's our thing. First we educate, then we advocate. We should be asking hard questions about infrastructure readiness, about emergency communication, cyber resilience. Yeah, call up your water facility that's choking you out, asking them about, are they ready for a cyber, if there's a cyber attack, are they prepared for that? It's about grid stability, and that'll be Dominion power here, and how state and local leaders can plan to communicate clearly when you all in the public get nervous. We should be able to communicate that. The third thing is we have to celebrate small wins. If there's a ceasefire, yes, that is a small win. If the markets cool a little bit, yes, it is a small win. If shipping starts to sort of move more normally, it is a small win, but we cannot confuse our small wins with full repair. We do need to let a little, what I don't want us to do is let a little bit of relief make us lazy. And fourth, we legislate, right? We cannot broker peace in the Gulf. I'm going to be honest about that. But we can support stronger infrastructure resilience. We can push for clearer emergency communication. We can protect families when the fuel hits the shocks sort of hit us. We can ask whether our utilities, our water systems, our local emergency plans are built for a world where disruption may come digitally, it may come economically, it may come physically. We can insist that preparedness is not this partisan thing and that public truth is not optional, because that's the work. So here's the bottom line, right? The Straits of Hormuz, which I need you to look at a map and know where it is, right? And I say this as I've gone through these straits many times. I wish I could count how many times, but I don't know how many times I've been through the Straits of Hormuz. It is a very vulnerable point in the world. So the Straits of Hormuz, they matter because choke points are underscored, and they matter so much. Oil is important because energy still moves our world. We are still moved by energy. War is significant because when it feels far, far away, somebody here still pays. And the ceasefire is I was going to say significant because I'm a little frustrated with this. The ceasefire is important, but it does not reverse any of the damage that is already done. So no, I'm genuinely not trying to put anyone into a panic, but I also not here to sort of hand you a fantasy about where we are. The biggest truth you can do for yourself is be prepared, be informed, be measured in what you do, be useful, be a better freaking neighbor, and be a certified doer. Panic is not power, but preparation is, right? And there are so many leaders in the community, and those leaders, I thank you for not pretending that things are just fine, because they are not. But leadership is also us doers teaching people how to stay ready when they are not, right? Right. Again, it's bloodshed versus balance sheet. And yes, there will be bloodshed, but I also know that it'll come through your balance sheet, right? Yeah. So that's what I got. I really genuinely want you all to understand where we are in this world right now, how you can add value to your corner of the world and what that means. Your fear and your anxiety and the things that you're seeing online, that is not false. I take it all very seriously. I want you to be able to, I want you to be able to exist in this moment. But I know that it is extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult to be it's extremely difficult to be measured and to be informed. All those things I'm asking, and all those things I'm asking of you, these are not easy things to do. So be kind to yourself, right? Know that there is some conservation. And I'm saying more preparation than conservation. There's some preparations that we need to be doing in our own backyard. I'm going to the chat, mostly on Facebook. Hey, BZ. Yeah, it might be a cyber attack. I'm deeply concerned about the drone economy here, especially with, folks using fiber optics, things we're able to detect and not detect. There's some, it is the thing. I'm also concerned about, our folks at war, and I'm using the Navy as my underbelly, is like, what happens when we need more weapons? What happens when it's a lot that the public needs to just say, all right, focus in, prepare. We need to do a better job. I think, as states, helping people understand, helping folks understand what's happening in the world and what it actually means for Virginia. I want to be able to articulate, just very clearly for you all, like what this means for Virginia, because that's where I'm at in government. And I think it's okay to hold us accountable to that. It's okay to say that we should know more as state level policymakers, and that the local level has to understand where they fall into it, because we know our federal partners are, talking the talk and doing the things about what they can do. And there's only so much, which underscores why this election coming up on the 21st is so important. I want to be able to vote again. I want to be participatory. And if we keep allowing these other states that are essentially putting us on a path to having a executive branch that is ruling both the judicial and the legislative branch, we're supposed to be co-equal branches of government. We're supposed to be checks and balances. We will be in a situation where no matter what I say as a state level leader, that doesn't matter. No matter what you do as an American, it won't matter, because the goal here is to ensure that we turn into a country like, Russia, that our elections are not real. That's, less rights for people like me. I don't know if things don't go right on April 21st, right? Because Virginia did a very significant shift in the map because of the significant shift that we've seen from several other states. If we don't choose to get into this fight, I don't know where public service stands for me, because I know that there's a push to ensure that folks like me are not able to vote, are not able to be participatory. And that's how serious it is. And I'm not fear mongering, but that's how freaking serious where we are right now, guys, is. So if you think about where you stand and what you can do, there's a lot of things that you can do. There's a lot of you can be a harbinger. You can be a great harbinger to your community, and be kind. Let me go to the Instagram. Oh, did this mess up? I don't know if Instagram is still rolling, but I can see it looks a little fuzzy. She says, I have 3 sons that could be drafted. As a veteran, I really hate that for them. Yeah, the report did just come out that said that I think at the end of the year, they're going to probably start doing some drafting. I didn't get a chance to remember, I'm also trying to exist while holding on to the news that is happening. And that can be very trying. Oh, wow. I love this Queen Rising. I definitely need to contact you, because I want to do the same. Yeah, I see this. You saw in the 93rd district that Capital Group is leaving Norfolk in 2027. Can you send that to me? Do you mind sending that to me, David James, that they're leaving? I didn't see that article. I missed it. So yeah, please, please, please send that to me. I'm going to do my part. I think, and I'm going to get off my soapbox. I'm going to say this, especially as process. Thank you for sharing that with me, David, because we do need to connect the dots between these different levels of government and why it's so important. I should have put that up there in district related. Thank you so much. Please send that to me. Can you please send that article to me? The crux of the problem here is a failure, and I know it. He knows. BZ, always so right. Is the control and narratives as a caucus and as a coalition of people who are not operating in inertia. Yes. What have we said? What have we told you to help you understand and to shift you in a way that makes you move? Because I can tell you, I feel some levels of failure as it pertains to this redistricting thing of being able to get people to understand it. I feel levels of failure as it is. And I guess to speak plainly about Virginia and these United States, and not necessarily all the party stuff. This is where I serve. And I think it's fair to hold us accountable about the narrative that we're putting out there or that we're not putting out there. At the state level, we should know more. quite frankly. We should say more, and we should understand more clearly where Virginia falls into this moment. And while our federal partners are again doing what they can do at the federal level, I think that is like a big there is a level of ineffectuality. I don't know if that's a word that I feel like happens at the federal level. This is why I love state government, because I can pass laws, I can operate in policy, I can do things much quicker. Certainly not as quick as the local level, and the local level being able to get into the minutia of controlling the narrative and how, but they can get into the narrative of what this means, why, and create the sense of urgency that I think folks need at a local government level to understand how this matters to the bigger picture. It's the damage is already moving through people's lives, and that is the thing. And state leaders have a responsibility to help people understand what global instability means locally, what constitutional instability means practically, and why civic participation still is important and vital to how we do work. The Virginia Department of Elections says there's a state, like they've said it, right? Like, why does that even matter? Like, the narrative behind why this, like, we are having a tough time getting people to grasp that, because the idea of voting for me is not a ritual. It is one of the few direct tools that I feel like as a human being, I still have to shape the direction of the government. But what happens when, the government isn't able to fully articulate that to me? And so I say that, again, not to fearmonger or to point and blame, but we are supposed to have, there should be a level of synergy. And the fact that, I think I'm going to be repeating myself here, the fact that we have, as a legislative branch, and that's where I said we have such an opportunity to be able to help you all with the narrative, to help you all understand what it means like for us to do our part, and understand how this. Hold on, I'm sorry, I put this up here. I'm reading. Yep. Okay. Yep. We have a responsibility when people see state elections, when they see special elections, when they see fights, when they see and interface with our offices, and ask questions. These things aren't small, and they are not small and technical. We have a responsibility to help you all understand that they're not small. And when a larger fight comes along, or an understanding of how it works, that yes, democratic participation still has teeth. It still does. Because if we get into a place where, where we're going, where this one branch is the bully of all the others, where elections stop being meaningful, where representation becomes performative instead of power. And it feels that way sometimes for me, that representation is very performative in some instances. And then you build the infrastructure of there, where the offices that folks interfaces, like, that becomes a form. That's why it begs me to the question, why would anyone want to stay in public office? I think it becomes less and less desirable. And I'm not saying that for drama. I'm saying that is the danger of democratic erosion and not doing and being better. So yes, all of these things matters: elections, participation, communication, controlling the narrative, state government, which gets lost in the shuffle. Because if people stop believing and don't understand, like, well, let me backtrack. If people don't understand the larger picture of why we have to do this, of how it's connected to the world. I keep saying geopolitics. If people stop doing that, and they stop believing that their votes count, or if systems are bent so far that accountability is this, like, it becomes cosmetic, then public service itself starts to lose its meaning, and then we walk down the path of becoming a North Korea, a China, a Russia. And for me, that is deeply personal. I don't do this work as some sort of decoration, for real. I'm not trying to warm somebody's seats. It's not because, well, I do it because I do believe that ordinary people deserve a government that still can be moved by their voices, by their votes, and by their needs. So when I say this to you, I'm very serious. And when like CBZ here says, like, we have to control the narrative, I'm not trying to teach it to scare you. I'm genuinely trying to respect you as human beings and tell you that democracy is not self-cleansing. It doesn't do it. It is not self-defending. It is participation. It is pressure. And it requires people who still believe that public service should mean something and that voting should still matter, and are aware of how this has looked across the world. And if Virginia is going to be a part of upholding that line, then we need state leaders who understand our role to our role is to prepare you to protect participation, to tell you the truth. That is our job, right? Yeah. State government can't fix anything, but it can't play dumb either as to how these things are connected to the bigger picture en masse. That's where I'm at. I'll pause there. Sorry. I'm going to go into the comments, and then I'm going to get my butt up off of here. Okay. Been trying for a year to get Dashmart to stop having their dumpsters emptied at 3 a.m. after a phone call with the person at VDH working on a case. I feel hopeless. No real path. Can you send that to me? Can you send that to me, please? So that we can try to send it to the Del J account, so that at the very minimum we can sort of put some pieces together, at least have it come from our email account. Because it sounds like you've worked with just outline in that email who you've talked to. And it doesn't have to be pretty, David. It just like, here's the issue, here's who we've talked to, and we just need support. Okay, if you do that for me, I can do my best to be helpful. David says, I want to hang on and keep fighting for my neighborhood, but after a few years at it, I feel like I have to fight the city to get them to take action, and that the levers in the past get things fixed are broken. You're not by yourself in that. 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 Yeah, the budget just came out last night. So if you're not familiar, the local budget, they just did a briefing last night. I was going to go. I did not go. But yes, there was a budget briefing last night. And it's important to take a look and be able to see where monies are not go. It's also important to note that at the state level, they are still working on a budget. So we are in the timeline where we've done all of our legislating at the state level, and we're waiting on the governor. She has until the 13th, I believe, to, either sign the bills that we have, veto them, make amendments, or do nothing. She has until then, and then we'll come back on April 22nd, and we will have what we call our reconvene session. It's where we gavel back in, we go through all of the legislation changes and such that the administration has gone through, and then we work from there. And then the day after that, we're supposed to have a special session. That special session on the 23rd of April is to hopefully get us into a position where we have a budget. I do not know where we are in this place and space, but I do know that I don't know where we are in the budget process, but I know that is the intent. If it does not happen, I will make sure I come on here and let you know that, hey, we're still working through. Now that matters, our budget matters, because the localities, the school systems, county, cities, and towns and school systems, a lot of times are basing piece of what they do off of what monies we're going to funnel down. And so if there's uncertainty about what the state is going to provide, then there's uncertainty about the budgets that they are now presenting to their electorate, to their folks. So it's a pretty crucial piece. Oh, thank you for what you do, for real. These lives keep me in the game. Hey, stay in the game, man. Don't get out. That's why I say when we celebrate, we do have to celebrate the smallest of wins. There are not very many big wins we're going to get in this work, especially with civic participation. You're not going to get a lot of huge wins. They will be slow and smooth, right? And that is also fast from what I've been told. From what I've been told, that's also fast. So I do need you to understand that that it is a it's a real thing. Last cool thing here, I'm going to say, Marcelo says, I have friends taking folks on the Hill. They report inertia at the incumbent level at the House and Senate, especially unresponsive staffs. That hurts. I know that sucks. Our goal is to really have people who it's finding staff can be a challenge. Can I tell you that I'm getting ready to put out my fellowship program for the summer? And I want to build something beautiful with you all that we're able to do. So be on the lookout for the fellowship. We always do all ages. So I have to have somebody that is under the age of 18, and I have to have somebody that's older, over the age of 55 to 60. And then everyone in between are welcome to do a fellowship that is on something that really will change their own lives. Last year, we had a young man do his fellowship on fetal alcohol syndrome and how there needs to be education for special education. There needs to be education for educators. It's so funny about what it is and how it can appear as autism, but there's no autism diagnosis. So shout out to Teddy Rowe. Teddy did an amazing job of helping me understand what that is. And then we had a young lady named Amira, health app called Mellow, that was no data collected because she was very concerned about privacy and all those sorts of things. It was very amazing. I had a really good time with them. And so it's what's important to you. And then I am also looking for some communication folks to come on board as well. So thank you. I appreciate this. I love this. Yeah. The fight is tough and emotional for sure. Know that I know that with my whole heart. So until next time, doers, do not forget what I said here. As doers in this game, as people who want to be a part of helping us, what's the word? I'm trying to think of what the word is. Gosh, that tells you I probably need to get my butt up off here because my brain's not working for me. But yeah, as doers, as I said, we're not going to panic. We're not going to dismiss. We're not going to panic. We're not going to dismiss. We're not going to. If it's my nephew, hello. Good morning, nephew. I'm on my morning dew. Give me 1 second, baby cakes. I'm on my morning dew. I'm going to wrap up here and then I'm going to talk to you, okay? I'm almost done. So thank you, sir. So again, the thing that I really want us as doers to be involved in is understanding that we've got opportunity, and it is all about just being a better neighbor. It is about preparation. There's a difference between panic and preparation, and I need you to be on the kick of preparation. Nothing here is a magic trick, but it is a people trick, making sure your mind is in the right place. So I will say to you, you drink water, you are a flower. Drink water, you are a flower. You are a flower. You are a living thing, and be kind to yourself. Yeah. That different, yes, Martha, we should talk about that. The disenfranchisement of special needs, and talk about the impacts of being an EFMP hub here, what that does for us. Other than that, until next time, I am Jackie Glass, Mama, Navy vet, certified doer, and the laced up legislator for the House of Delegates, 93rd District. Always honored to serve. Always. You guys made a great day. Take care. Bye. Catch you in these streets. Don't forget, tomorrow, NSU, Saturday, COVID Coalition. Next Saturday is my Fly Norfolk event on the 18th. Go to Eventbrite for that. And then the following week is a town hall on the Yes campaign in the Berkeley area, south side of Norfolk. Peace.